Free State Agriculture has welcomed the support pledged to the agricultural sector by US President Donald Trump. The organization's president, Francois Vulcan, says they are encouraged that the US government has heeded the pleas of South African farmers and acknowledged that farmers' safety and property rights are under threat from the ANC-led Government of National Unity. Vulcan says Free State Agriculture is ready to accept any assistance and support for its farmers, particularly when help is offered by the United States and President Donald Trump.
Trump's announcement that farmers and Afrikaners will henceforth be eligible for refugee status in the United States serve as a wake-up call for the government, agricultural organizations and all communities in South Africa. Farm murders and rural security have been a reality for more than 30 years, yet none of our efforts to prompt action from the ANC government have yielded lasting results. We remain defenseless against criminals who have been stealing our livestock and plundering large portions of our crops for decades, while the police are unable to assist us. For 30 years, farmers have been targeted by radical left-wing politicians.
For more on this conversation now, we are joined by Thembisa Fakude, who is the director at Africa-Asia Dialogues, and he joins us now via our video link. Thembisa, it's always a pleasure talking to you here on SABC News. Thank you so much for your time this evening. Let's start off here. I mean, so much has transpired since last night and, well into today when it comes to that executive order we have seen from US President Donald Trump. Let's start off by giving us your thoughts when it comes to this order.
Well, like everybody else, I agree with the analysis that has been proliferating, at least in the media in South Africa today, that the decision is ill-informed and unfortunately it compromises the American exceptionalism and America as being the leader of democracy, and the country has always been on top of the game when it comes to information and intelligence. To have the president of the United States issuing this kind of an executive order, totally ill-informed, is quite scary, actually, of things to come. Now, this is the man who's supposed to be surrounded by very well-educated, informed people, and he goes on to issue this kind of an order in a country like South Africa, where we have protection, vibrant legal fraternity, the democracy works. And he somehow decides to listen to certain individuals, and based on that, he goes and issues this order. So it's quite scary times, and I don't think South Africa, including the sovereign government, realizes the importance of this. And I think one would have expected the president, number one, to have spoken to us this evening.
Yeah.
So that you can all sing from one sheet. You've seen, I don't know how many ANC talking heads I've heard today. Everybody else is saying whatever they want to say. So there's no dovetailing of a position or communique from the ANC or the government. And one would have expected that there was going to be an agent meeting, at least to come up with one position and statements that will give us leadership. But at the moment is autopilot. All of us are saying whatever we feel is the correct thing to say.
And let's maybe then talk about that statement that came out from the International Relations Department, also saying that it seems as if this is a well-orchestrated campaign of misinformation and propaganda. At the same time, going back to President Cyril Ramaphosa at the State of the Nation address, saying South Africa won't be bullied. What do you make of some of the sentiments coming out from Pretoria?
Yeah, again, different statements. I mean, very haphazard communication strategy. One would have expected that there was going to be some sort of, closing ranks. We saw what AfriForum did today, and I would have expected that the president would have at least pulled all the political parties and opponents, because this is about our democracy. And have one joint statement, even if it's a joint media statement, because many of these people do agree that this is misinformed. But at the moment, we are allowing everybody to speak as they think. And that, I think, is a problem. And it lacks some sort of leadership from government communicators one would have expected at this point, because this is going to impact all of us, to have all political parties in one platform, led by the president, issuing a joint statement that all of them, of course, at least until now, support. Instead of us speaking from different positions and having this silo mentality on dealing with a very, very critical position. Because these individuals, the likes of Musk and Trump, they mean what they say. And they're extremely dangerous in international politics, and particularly dismantling international relations, as we know, with multilateralism.
And maybe let's also then talk about, the ramifications of this. I mean, talking about the cutting of this aid to South Africa. How will this directly impact South Africa?
Well, if you look at the order, it also says that the heads of departments, of various departments within USAID, they can still use their discretion to continue funding. So I don't know what that means. But South Africa is strong enough, actually, I believe, to meet the new challenges of lack of funding from USAID. I think South Africa can afford, to an extent, if there's do scratch in the national purse, to cover these. But USAID has, by and large, been working with non-governmental and non-profit organizations. And many of these organizations are not state-controlled or managed organizations. These are free, independent organizations that have been doing social work on behalf of South African people. So it's not necessarily going to impact the government directly. But the money has been, of course, been used over the years to augment some of the government expenditure, and it's been helping. But I doubt if it's going to impact us in any way or form in a manner that many people are already suggesting. President Ramaphosa also downplayed that the USAID or the cutting of funding is not really going to impact us that much.
Another big factor, Thembisa, is the issue of AGOA. And, when it comes to seeing South Africa being booted out, what is the likelihood of that taking place? And I draw a reference to what the DA leader also said there, John Steenhuisen, talking about the agricultural sector in the country and how this can actually affect, farmers in South Africa.
Well, whoever it was from the AfriForum that have been providing information to Donald Trump and Elon Musk, I think this is going to backlash big time on South African farmers. They are the ones who are going to be impacted big time should the United States decide to kick South Africa out of AGOA, because the people that are going to benefit largely are the farmers. But also, workers in South Africa are going to continue benefiting from this. So this is going to backlash. But the warning, of course, is to the Afrikaner community of this country. This is a moment and an opportunity for them to show a strong position, and try to avoid this, disruption of our national cohesion. The black South Africans have been very, one will argue, foresighted in terms of accepting the deals and all the sunset clauses that were brought to us forcibly by our leadership, which we trust and respected. Now you have a situation where the Afrikaner people should also close rank and say, we are South Africans, we stand with our fellow South Africans. There's nothing like what has been suggested by Donald Trump and Elon Musk happening in South Africa in terms of us killing and displacing white Afrikaners. That Donald Trump is a bigot and is a racist, and we don't stand with that. But unfortunately, what we see happening at the moment is some of the ill-informed, opportunistic Afrikaner leadership are jumping on a bandwagon. And unfortunately, this could just come back to haunt them, because, by the way, the tenure of Donald Trump is 4 years.
Yeah.
There's life after Donald Trump. And the South African Afrikaners need to realize that and take a very strong position for the future generations.
Yeah, and
life is very comfortable and good for them in this country.
Yeah, Thembisa, and talking about this, do you think that this is why they immediately called that press briefing today to sort of iron out some of the issues here at play?
Yeah, but it was still very arrogant. It portrayed an image of emboldened people who now feel that they've got a supporter outside in the form of Donald Trump and Elon Musk. It was not, for me, convincing that they are really truly South Africans, and they were not outright in condemnation of what has happened. I didn't hear the word condemn, wrong, fault. They were basically playing very, very safe. And you saw a group of individuals who feel very emboldened, very short-sighted. They think that this is going to, in fact, all of these suggestions by Donald Trump, I think it will take more than 4 years to be implemented. And after that, we might just see a different world in a different United States. What will happen to the Afrikaners then? And I don't even know whether any of them will really survive a refugee status in the United States and abandon a comfortable life in South Africa. So it's a very important point in history for the Afrikaners, but also for us as South Africans. I think it's time for us to close ranks. And we expect that South Africans, together with the Afrikaners, led by the president of this country, will show a brave face, united face that says that it's not true. But at the moment, I'm not sure where the president is, and I would have expected the president, at least tonight, to have called, what is known now as a family meeting in South Africa to tell us exactly what the situation is, what he's going to do about this, what's the way forward, because it is a sign of bigger things to come.
Certainly, Thembisa, thank you so much for your time this evening. That is Thembisa Fakude, Director of Africa-Asia Dialogues. They're talking about that executive order which was given today by Donald Trump to freeze aid to South Africa. Also, they're calling on President Cyril Ramaphosa to give clarity and give some sort of announcement in the country when it comes to what has transpired between South Africa and the US relations.